Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. So, as requested by some people on Instagram, some people wanted to see how I drew the chibis that I did for my Genshin Impact stickers that I'm still currently working on. So I decided to film a little bit of the process. I kind of screwed up and wasn't able to throw in the sketching process for, I think, either Bennett or Chongyun, just because I wasn't planning on actually filming these ones, but I ended up liking sketch a lot more, so I thought that I could show you guys the coloring and line art process for each of them. And I actually did Bennett first, but I'm showing you guys Chongyun first just because I think his turned out a little bit cuter than Bennett's. Bennett looks like a little derpy, but still somewhat cute, so I'm still including it in here, and I didn't really change his after the fact. I'm gonna change Chongyun's mouth positioning a little bit different at the very end because I'm gonna paint over it, but I didn't film that part just because I think his mouth is a little too low on his face, so I did extend like his popsicle a little bit and then moved his mouth a little bit up. But I am working in Tool SAI, so I feel like Tool SAI is my favorite program to work with anything to do with line art, and usually for these kinds of chibi illustrations or like little drawings of them that I would like to do for like stickers, I tend to do line art, so I wanted to do these in Tool SAI, so that's what I'm doing. And usually when I'm doing kind of like this line art process, I usually separate each element into different line art. So I do eyes on a separate layer, the skin on a separate layer, the hair, and then the clothing on separate layers, as well as the eyebrows. So I have like a minimum of 5 different layers for the line art, just to make sure that I could kind of like, I can easily bucket in the new line art color to match closer to whatever color I used, just to make things look a little bit softer. As you can see, I have amber on the side just open, just because I'm using the similar skin tone colors as amber, just because a lot of the models that have more of the how to explain it, like the pale complexion, kind of very peach colored skin tone, I am picking from Amber's model just because it's easier, and I can also just take the line art color for hers, then put them for any of the characters who share the same skin tone. Let's see. I don't think I'm gonna show you guys the rest of the chibis that I've been working on for Genshin Impact. Like even at the end I'll blur it, just because I would like to keep it more of a surprise, and just because just in case, I guess, for more like safety purposes, in terms of I've had people take images from videos before and try to pass it as their own, just because sometimes when I put the images at the end there's no watermark, or because it's usually a little bit more of a clear image, so at the end I'll put like a screenshot instead of the actual files themselves, like the fully what is it called, like the final image, like the PNG with the normal amount of DPI and stuff. I won't put that at the end, I'll just put a screenshot just in case. But I had a lot of fun drawing Chongyun, just because I really do like his color scheme, and I've drawn him a few times before, and I already had like an idea of how I wanted to draw him, so I just picked something simple. I think for the most part, all of them have very static poses for the stickers, just because I wanted to keep them within this little 3x4 inch canvas space. I think Benny is the only one who has more of a dynamic pose, just because I think it fits his personality. I know the one I did for Kazuha, and I don't know if there's anyone else. I know Kazuha has a little bit more movement just because I added it to his outfit, because he has like his scarf moving behind him. I'm not sure if you guys can hear it, but there's like construction stuff going on. I picked the wrong time to record again for this voiceover. That's okay. In terms of the layers, usually for the skin, I would have like maybe 2 or 3 shading layers to go on top. So usually I do the base shading, which is kind of more like a peach color, or any darker, a little bit more saturated and a little bit more warmer color. And then I will have a multiply layer on top of that to do more of like a purple color. Sometimes I do this manually. I usually do that manually when I'm painting, but if I'm doing it for these, I just quickly do the multiply tool because it's much quicker and I'm more relying on shapes, and I would like it to follow along with the gradient as much as possible, so I usually use the multiply tool. You can see like all my layers on the left side, like the left hand side, and as you can see I have a bunch of layers for the hair as well. It's just because like, well, how I do the hair coloring, it's just easier for me to follow these steps like really quickly. So I would do the base color, and then I would do kind of like a initial shading color, which is a little bit darker, and then I will do a multiply layer again, then I do the highlights, then I'll do a layer of the skin color on top of the hair just to make it softer. So that's all of that. For clothing is where I kind of cut down on my layers just because I know it's easier for myself to meld the colors together more easily. So I will bucket in every element or like every color for their clothing on the same layer if possible. And then after that, I will take a multiply layer, add a initial shadow coloring, if that makes sense. Dude, I'm so scatterbrained right now. And then I'll add another layer to do some airbrushing of different colors. So you can see in Chongyun's, there's a little bit of blue, there's a little bit of purple. I could have added more pinks and stuff, but I decided to keep it a little bit more neutral this time. But then after that, I will merge the multiply layer to the base colors, and then I'll merge the airbrushing to the base colors. Then I will lock that layer and then just paint basically, because it's easier for me to paint in clothing folds rather than like doing it more of a blocky cell shaded kind of look. I do kind of do more of the cell shaded look for some of the characters if they have like gradients or patterning that is hard to replicate in the painterly style, just because I'm losing my patience. But yeah, moving on, we're moving on to Bennett. And Bennett's like always a character I like enjoy drawing. I don't know, I like drawing his hair. I love his accessories and stuff. I know some people are not fond of his design. I don't know if it's because like his design's a little bit more scattered in terms of like the elements he has on his outfit, but I actually quite like his outfit. And maybe it's because like I draw mostly like headshots and stuff that I just like drawing his face. I think he's just really cute. So yeah, so we're just pretty much doing the line art for now. I always have like a certain process when doing line art. I usually do the eyes first, sometimes I do the eyebrows next, then I will do the face or the skin, and sometimes I'll do like the entirety of the skin elements. So if they have like shoulders showing or their hands, I will do those first if I can. But in this case, I thought it'd be easier to do the clothing before I did like any exposure of the skin, just because I needed to make sure that the clothing looks like it's covering it. So that's why I did it that way. But after I do the face, I usually do the hair after, just because it's easier for me to erase any lines that are from the skin part. I feel like the way I'm explaining this does not make sense, just because I do line art on different layers. So you can see on the left hand side, so the most bottom layer in that folder is skin. Then I usually have clothing, then the eyes, then the hair, then the eyebrows. I tend to have eyes under the hair just because I usually select any parts of the eyes that are being covered by hair and kind of like airbrush over it, either the color of the hair, or I'll erase it using the airbrush to make it look like it's kind of showing through the hair rather than just blatantly placed on top. And sometimes I do this with the eyebrows, but I didn't do it for these chibis for some reason. I totally ignored it. Yeah, so Benny has more of a dynamic pose just because, you know, I think it fits his personality more, and I thought it'd just be cute. I did have to be a little bit wary that I didn't want to make him too large on the canvas. I think he still is a bit too large, but because he's like bending his knees, he shouldn't be as tall as the other ones. But for the sake of consistency of the sizes of the stickers, I wanted to make sure they're somewhat the same, other than like Diona, Klee, who I've done already. I still have Chi-Chi to do, and I'm going to be doing Sayu, hopefully. Okay, here's the thing. I planned it out so that I would have one buffer day, which is bad. I should have blocked out like a whole week for buffer room. But I was supposed to do 3 chibis a day, because for some reason these are taking me longer than they should. I used to be able to like do chibis about, I think, 1.5 to 2 hours per chibi, but I think these ones are taking me longer, and I'm not sure it's because like I'm getting distracted or it's because of all the details. But I've only I usually block out 3 per day. So the night before, I would do the sketch for whoever I'm drawing the next day, then I will do the coloring, or like the line art, and then the coloring, and then do the next 3 sketching. and kind of keep up with that kind of pattern and flow. But there are several days that I missed, so I'm super behind. I'm doing them somewhat in alphabetical order just because I found a list online and it was much easier for me to record them that way. So as I am recording this audio, I still have to do, let's see, who am I on? I think I'm on Mona Lisa, haha, and then Ningguang is the next one. So I'm probably gonna sketch that right after I do this recording so we can get back on track soon. So I have those 3. I should be able to knock out 2 of them today, hopefully. And then maybe Ningguang in the morning. We'll see. We'll see. If I do them in order, then yeah. But I have... Who have I done? So let me look at my list. Since I won't be showing you guys until they're up in my store, which hopefully be later this month, is what I'm planning. Which is bad why I didn't plan out more buffer room for drawing these guys. So I've done Albedo, Amber, Barbara, Beidou, Bennett, Chongyun, and then Diluc, Diona, Eula, Fischl, Ganyu, Hu Tao, Jin, Kazuha, Kaya. I've done Ayaka, and then Keqing and Klee. So the reason why Kazuha and Ayaka are kind of in the weird place in my list is because the list puts their full name. So it has Kamisato Ayaka, which is in the K section, and then for Kazuha it has like Kaede Hara, right? So his is like before Kaya, which is the reason for the weirdness. But yeah, I think that's about it. The thing is, Genshin has so much detail, and I always feel like, do I put more detail for the line art, or do I like simplify it? So I'm trying to find a good in-between, because some of them that have like patterning and stuff, I try to simplify a little bit more if I can. But I like making things... Oh, sorry if the flashing's a little bit weird. I don't know why I decided to speed it up this way. This is why I'm like always wary of doing time lapses like this, because they take so long. So when I speed them up, I have to speed them up like 16 or like 8 times speed. But the reason why it was for the... Why you kept seeing the brown color is because I put a new layer and clip it to the entire clothing and put like some kind of a darker color that has a higher contrast to see if I missed any gaps or like white areas. But yeah, it just helps to do that. Or like alternatively, you can change the background color. I have like a muted gray at the back, but you can change it to like a vibrant color so that it shows through. And if you see any of those vibrant pixels within the clothing, then you know that you missed some areas, because we know the bucket tool is not good for like making sure you get every little pixel, right? Especially with like all those little corners. But as you can see, when I do the airbrushing, it kind of helps add a little bit of other colors while I'm painting, and it just makes it a lot easier because I don't have to color pick, or not color pick another color from like my color wheel to add in. I kind of have already like a general gist of what colors I want to use, and it just brings a little bit more harmony, I guess, with all the colors, because I try to color pick colors that are already present in his outfit. So because his pants are dark, I try to pull like oranges and reds, and I think that is about it. I mentioned that I was gonna do more time-lapse videos like this, like digital time-lapse videos every so often, but I feel like Mondays will still be mostly sketchbook doodle videos, and I'll just pop these in every so often. Hope you guys enjoyed watching this, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye!